It's time to say hello and welcome to another exciting edition of the program Ashford Garley Live on this beautiful Monday night as we come to you from Detroit, Michigan. How was your weekend? I'm pretty sure you had a great time. And folks, sit back, relax as we come to you tonight from Bridge Television Africa, Bridge Radio Africa, and www.bridgeradioafrica.com. Special guest tonight, folks, Steve Bull. The injustices that the black community continue to face in America. What are your thoughts? We need you to join the conversation tonight. In the meantime, as always, want to go to Information Highway. And Mrs. Letty Brooks Rabbits is standing by to make her presence felt. Mrs. Rabbits, hello and welcome to the show.
How are you?
Good, good. Too blessed to be stressed. How was your weekend?
My weekend was great, despite all of the uprising in the world, in the country. But it was good, thank you.
Okay.
How was yours?
It was fantastic, quiet. But like you said, with all the things that we face there in America, sad time for our country, and we're just praying that calm is restored.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and bring us up to speed.
Okay, we'll say good evening and welcome to another Monday edition of Bridge TV Africa with your host, Ashford the Giant Garley. We are coming to you tonight live from 3 different and major platforms. We are coming to you from Facebook Live, YouTube, and Bridge TV Africa. Thank you for choosing Bridge TV as your choice of information and entertainment. We ask that you please be respectful of one another, the host, and most importantly, our guests. Please do share this broadcast with your friends. Lastly, We ask that you please visit Bridge TV Africa for more information and entertainment. We say thank you for joining us this evening. Please make yourselves comfortable as we bring you information for your discussion. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Roberts. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say a big welcome to Mr. Austin Carpet. Austin, how are you? Patience Days Slow, my own little cousin. Eugene Harriet, Rosalind Sosa, Florence Tiller, and of course, our lovely Kalon Zai celebrates her birthday today. Congratulations, Kalon. And let us sure hope that you live to see many, many more birthdays to come. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go to West Africa, Liberia, where Miss Angel Morris is standing by with the news headlines. Angel, hello. Welcome to the show.
A very pleasant hello to all of our listeners and viewers of Bridge Radio Africa. My name is Angel Morris, and I would love to welcome you to our major headlines making news across Africa. Well, this evening we have five African countries that we have featured into this presentation, prioritizing Liberia. To start up with Liberia, the National Public Health Institute of Liberia has confirmed that the country has together 296 COVID 19 cases, 159 recovered cases, 27 deaths, and a total of 110 active cases. Still in Liberia, the Association of Female Lawyers has disclosed that it is deeply troubled by the continuous sexual and gender based violence attacks on women and girls in the country, especially during this COVID 19 pandemic. And also in Liberia, the stepfather of the 15-year-old girl who was allegedly raped and impregnated by her stepfather has been captured. And the Justice Minister, Frank Musadin, has confirmed to a local media outlet in Monrovia that he was arrested and captured late Sunday. And he was seen lastly in the Mount Barclay area. At this moment, we go to Zimbabwe, and this one says Zimbabwe has summoned the U.S. ambassador over comments on the late George Floyd's protest. We now go to DR Congo, and this one says DR Congo Ebola outbreak has killed 4 persons in DR Congo, and 4 persons have died amid a fresh outbreak of Ebola in the province of DR Congo. The country's health minister has disclosed. Still in DR Congo, the country has reported 3,195 confirmed COVID 19 cases, leading to 72 deaths. At this moment, we go to Uganda, and in Uganda, this one says the European Union has on Monday provided Uganda 178 million euros in credit and grants to fund its coronavirus response, including extending credit to small businesses hit by the economic crisis induced by the pandemic. Now we go to South Africa, and this one says the South African government implemented a partial easing of the nationwide lockdown on Monday in an attempt to kickstart with the economy amid of COVID 19. Still in South Africa has reported 32,683 confirmed COVID 19 cases, with the total of 683 deaths. In Nigeria, Nigeria has recorded 10,162 confirmed cases, with the total of 287 deaths. Last but not the least, we have Ghana, and this one says Ghana has 8,070 confirmed COVID 19, cumulatively 36 deaths. And that does it for our major headlines making news across Africa. It's over to you, Mr. Garley.
Thank you, Angel. And how was your weekend?
Well, my weekend wasn't bad. It's all good.
Okay. And how is the food distribution going by the government of Liberia for its citizens?
Well, the process has actually started, but at this moment, I think they have only started in Monrovia because I have been out of Montserrat County for about 3 days now, and I'm not seeing any sign of it in any other county but Montserrat County. So the process is still ongoing. The government of Liberia is currently distributing the food packages as they promised. And as President Ria proposed previously, that this will help Liberians during this pandemic.
Okay, that's the voice of Ms. Angel Morris out of Monrovia, Liberia. Thank you so much, Angel, and we'll be in touch. Okay, folks.
Okay, Mr. Bella.
Folks, we're coming to you tonight from Broad Street, Monrovia, Liberia. Lots of goodies in store for you tonight. Special guest, Mr. Steve Bowley. And earlier today, we heard from the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. I will now play excerpts of his speech today. And if I can get a signal from my producer, see if we can bring him down the truck.
Thank you very much. My fellow Americans, my first and highest duty as president is to defend our great country and the American people. I swore an oath to uphold the laws of our nation, and that is exactly what I will do. All Americans were rightly sickened and revolted by the brutal death of George Floyd. My administration is fully committed
and
that for George and his family, justice will be served. He will not have died in vain. But we cannot allow the righteous cries and peaceful protesters to be drowned out by an angry mob. The biggest victims of the rioting are peace-loving citizens in our poorest communities. And as their president, I will fight to keep them safe. I will fight to protect you. I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters. But in recent days, our nation has been gripped by professional anarchists, violent mobs, arsonists, looters, criminals, rioters, Antifa, and others. A number of state and local governments have failed to take necessary action to safeguard their residents. Innocent people have been savagely beaten, like the young man in Dallas, Texas, who was left dying on the street, or the woman in upstate New York viciously attacked by dangerous thugs. Small business owners have seen their dreams utterly destroyed. New York's finest have been hit in the face with bricks. Brave nurses who have battled the virus are afraid to leave their homes. A police precinct has been overrun. Here in the nation's capital, the Lincoln Memorial and the World War II Memorial have been vandalized. One of our most historic churches was set ablaze. A federal officer in California, an African-American enforcement hero, was shot and killed. These are not acts of peaceful protest. These are acts of domestic terror. The destruction of innocent life and the spilling of innocent blood is an offense to humanity and a crime against God. America needs creation, not destruction. Cooperation, not contempt. Security, not anarchy. Healing, not hatred. Justice, not chaos. This is our mission, and we will succeed. 100%, we will succeed. Our country always wins. That is why I am taking immediate presidential action to stop the violence and restore security and safety in America. I am mobilizing all available federal resources, civilian and military, to stop the rioting and looting, to end the destruction and arson, and to protect the rights of law-abiding Americans, including your Second Amendment rights. Therefore, the following measures are going into effect immediately. First, we are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country. We will end it now. Today, I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has been quelled. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them. I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property. We are putting everybody on warning. Our 7 o'clock curfew will be strictly enforced. Those who threaten innocent life and property will be arrested, detained, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I want the organizers of this terror to be on notice that you will face severe criminal penalties and lengthy sentences in jail. This includes Antifa and others who are leading instigators of this violence. One law and order, and that is what it is. One law. We have one beautiful law. And once that is restored and fully restored, we will help you, we will help your business, and we will help your family. America is founded upon the rule of law. It is the foundation of our prosperity, our freedom, and our very way of life. But where there is no law, there is no opportunity. Where there is no justice, there is no liberty. Where there is no safety, there is no future. We must never give in to anger or hatred. If malice or violence reigns, then none of us is free. I take these actions today with firm resolve and with a true and passionate love for our country. By far, our greatest days lie ahead. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to pay my respects to a very, very special place. Thank you very much.
I stand with the protesters. And I think all well-meaning Americans stand with the protesters. It's not an isolated incident. It is a continuum of cases and situations that have been going on for decades and decades and decades. These are just chapters in a book. And the title of the book is Continuing Injustice and Inequality in America. And these are just chapters. The chapter started modern day Rodney King in Los Angeles, 1991. Abner Louima in New York, 1997. Amadou Diallo in New York, 1999. Sean Bell in New York, 2006. Oscar Grant, Oakland, California, 2009. Eric Garner, New York City, 2014. Michael Brown, Missouri, 2014. Laquan McDonald, Chicago, 2014. Freddie Gray, Baltimore, 2015. Antoine Rose, Pittsburgh, 2018. Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, 2020. Breonna Taylor in Kentucky, 2020. George Floyd in Minneapolis, 2020. That's why the outrage. That's why the frustration and the anger. It is not about one situation. It's about the same situation happening again and again and again and again, and seeing the same thing and not learning the lesson. And then it's that happening in a broader context and a broader circumstances, which is what's going on with the coronavirus, which affects and kills more minorities than anyone else. You look around this country and you look at the people who are dying of the coronavirus, it is disproportionate African American people. And it's just a continuing injustice, and that's the frustration, and that's the protests. Nobody is sanctioning the arson and the burglaries, but the protesters and the anger and the fear and the frustration, yes, yes. And the demand is for justice. And when the prosecutor came out and said, well, there's other evidence, but I can't tell you anything more than that, that only incited the frustration. Injustice in the justice system. How repugnant to the concept of America. And over and over and over again. I stand against the arson and the burglary and the criminality. I stand with the protesters. And I think all well-meaning Americans stand with the protesters. Enough is enough. How many times do you have to see the same lesson replayed before you do something? This country is better than this. It has been better than this. And it shouldn't take this long to end basic discrimination and basic injustice.
Oh, man. And folks, I'm telling you tonight, protest in America. I can feel the angers of Americans all over the United States, folks. Enough is enough. And I will tell you a little story. Back in 2008, while doing my work as a direct sales representative in the city of Detroit, when I approached this home, not knowing I was running into fire, it would have been very dangerous for me. I received a call from this resident wanting to buy cable television. Back then I used to do Comcast cable. Not knowing there was a criminal in the house who said we did business together. Got to the house, about 15 state troopers with guns in my face in Detroit, and I was shocked. On the ground. And I politely got on my belly with my hands up, and I was handcuffed. And I kept asking, what did I do? See, there's a guy in there who said you guys are doing business together. Come to find out, don't know this guy. Sees my phone, my wallet, and they started to do all kinds of search. But if you're not a troublemaker, if you try to keep your nose clean, avoid violence, avoid getting into trouble. So the state troopers kept my wallet for a couple of days with my cell phone. And back then I only had green card, and they said, Mr. Garley, there's a gentleman in there who says that you both do business together. I come to find it was far from the truth. But I could have well been George Floyd. Every black person should not be a suspect in America. You listen to the New York mayor who sounded more presidential than Donald Trump. When does this stop? According to Martin Luther King, do not judge a person because of his skin color, but for the content of the character. Do you know what this means? For a grown man to cry for his mother. Mama. For the grown man to say, I can't breathe. I think I'm gonna die. You've already seduced the man. He's on the ground in handcuffs. At this time, he's not harmful. But you continue to put your knee in the neck of this man. And you are questioning the angers of the protesters. I have this young lady who just got out of sick bed because of the anger. She took to the streets. Protests in some serious country. It's not wedding planning. When it's time for protest, it's not time to plan wedding. My brothers and sisters in Liberia, please take note. Take note. And as a matter of fact, you don't even know the leaders of the protesters. There's no leaders. People are angry. White, black. You name it. They're all over the place. All over the United States. Why does this man have to die this way? He was begging for his life. And you killed him. And you were asking the people why are they protesting? In Liberia, we planned protests for 3 months. In Liberia, our protest becomes a vacation break. When it's time to protest, it's time to protest. You don't say today is Sunday. Let the people go to church and we'll protest on Monday. You don't say today is Friday, let the Muslim go to the mosque. Real protests don't have leaders. You don't go and dialogue and negotiate in defense of the masses who are hurting. My Liberian brothers and sisters, if you are convinced that George Weah is not good for our country, do this yourself. Call California, Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, Philadelphia. Protesters all over the damn country. Who are the leaders? No one is the leader. When you push somebody, push them, push them. Old ladies, old men, the young. They're all over the place seeking justice for George Floyd. Wake up. And again, I don't condone looting, burglary. But when you push people, push them so far, this is what you get in return. And then when you have a president of the United States with this reckless statement, then you anger the people more. You don't do that. Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, you have my respect. Now, folks, the injustices the black community continue to face in America. What are your thoughts? Joining me tonight is Mr. Steve Bowley, and I would need you to join the conversation as well. But just before we join Mr. Bowley, I want to go back to the information highway where Mrs. Lexi Brooks Rabbits is standing by to read out a few comments, and then we'll bring in Mr. Bowley. Mrs. Rabbits. Mrs.
Yes,
Rabbits, are you there?
Mr. Garley. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, we have Miss Ethel Innes. She says, but the people are not listening to him. Listening Kamara replying to patient, just wait and see for tomorrow. Bekugbe Parrot, Liberians are laid back people, must risk it for them when they are the ones suffering. Ethel Innes, don't be hot. You're going on soon. Patience Slew, no more blaming protest in Liberia. No more planning protest in Liberia. Carl Penu, I'm watching. Sarah Putu Wei, this animal killed George internationally because he has power, but he will not rest until justice be served for every one of our people. LIB Messenger, I know, right? Replying to somebody. Sylvester Constant, in Liberia, the protest has vacation break. Ethel Innes, right. Victoria Giddens, yes, my brother. Steve Bowley, hello, everyone. And those are the trending comments right now, Mr. Garley. Back to you.
Thank you.
I did lose some of them because I had to reset my computer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you.
Before we go to Steve Bowley, send the protest out. The protest in Liberia at wedding. We are at the wedding reception right now, as you can hear the music in the background. The groom, Henry Costa. The best man, Yeke Koluba. Groomsman, Darius Dillon. Groomsman, Sandal Johnson. Groomsman, Oscar Cooper. Mother of the bride, Yomli Kanka Lawrence. Father of the groom, Benana Yuri. The chief patron of the wedding, Alexander B. Cummins. The grandfather of the groom, Joseph Newman Boyka. She protest that wedding in Liberia. You see real protests. You don't plan protests. The wife to be the Republic of Liberia. Liberia has suffered too long. Liberia needs rescue. You want to get married to Liberia, and you know Liberia is hurting. You don't negotiate. You don't compromise. You don't leave the protests and go out to talk to UN, talk to the US embassy, talk to ECOWAS. You don't do that. And I hope you're taking notes. Protests just don't happen. Protests happen just. Oh, today Sunday. If you will go to church today, we'll protest on Monday. No, today Friday. The Muslim got to go to the mosque. Now wait. Oh, today holiday. We've got to get serious here, folks. With that said, I want to now go to my special guest, Mr. Steve Bowley, who is in fact standing back tonight. And as he introduces himself, Mr. Bowley, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Garley. How are you?
Good, my man. How was your weekend?
The weekend is okay. I'm grateful to be here, as always. I've been staying safe, and I've been observing from my corner as well, from Arizona, Phoenix. Can you hear me?
Well, last night, just before, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Last night, just before the curfew, man, in Detroit, it was like a complete war zone. I mean, military, war tanks, all downtown, man. Something that's very scary. And I'm told it happened in other parts of the country as well. The injustices the Black community continue to face in America. Your thoughts, my brother?
First of all, I like to start off, as always, by, regardless of the conversation we are having, I like to recognize the Liberian people. Mr. Garley, I believe they're the most important people on earth. Whether you're in the diaspora, whether you're back home, especially for our family members and friends and loved ones that are back home, I believe they are the most important people on earth. I also believe the Liberian women are the most beautiful women, Mr. Garley. I will continue to say that, and you know that for well and a fact. And so I will continue to stick with that, because that's a belief, and we will continue to instill it and install it into the heads and the minds of our people. That being said, I've been following what has been trending in the United States. And let me say to you, this is not a coincidence. It was just a matter of time. It was really the matter of time. You see, sometimes people have to send messages across through different forms and different means. But in order to do that, you must not only be strategic, you must mean what you're saying. You must mean it. And once you mean what you're saying and you are consistent in what you're saying, it helps a lot. It sends a different message. So let's take, for example, from 2013 to 2019, do you know that in the United States, the amount of Black people that have been killed by police is 7,666? That is a lot of number. Now, this is not a coincidence, because what is it with the police and Black people? What really is it though? And every time we see that this thing, it look like they're putting Band-Aid on a wound or on a sore. Let me say it the Liberian way. You know, you're putting bandage on a sore. You're putting bandage on a sore every time. But the sore there, you can't heal the sore. But let me tell you something. Let me say something that will sound a little controversial here. I want to blame the Black people. Let me tell you why. When you fight for freedom and you don't fight for empowerment, your freedom is useless. Freedom or empowerment is useless. So the Black people all throughout fought for freedom, which is a good thing. But they never got empowered. So it's like me telling you, Mr. Garley, I gave you freedom to drive a car, or your son. Let's say, Mr. Garley, your son at the house. You tell him, my son, you have freedom to drive this car. You have freedom to drive a car. But you never taught your son how to drive the car, though. You never provided him with a car key. You never also provided him with money or enable him to be on the drive. How do you think this man is going to exercise that freedom he has? The black people have never been empowered. They got freedom in the head, in the mouth. They have not been empowered. Go to schools. When you apply for student loan, you apply for financial aid, you apply for every other things. Let me tell you something. Do you know that other people will get preferences, especially the Israelites and those from Asia? They got certain benefits or whatever it is that they carry. The black people don't. And sometimes, let me say this though. I will say another controversial thing. Sometimes the black people get mad at some of us. They are fanatics of Barack Obama because Barack Obama is a black man. But I believe Barack Obama disappointed the black people because Barack Obama was the first black president that never brought into any law that's something that will benefit the black people. Barack Obama never pushed any black agenda. Let me tell you the black agenda Barack Obama pushed. Homosexuality, lesbianism. This is why I'm not a fanatic of Barack Obama. I respect Barack Obama as a leader because of his speeches. He has control over the English language. But you tell me one thing that he did to empower black people. You tell me. George Bush and other people, when they came on, they empower white people. And so these are some of the things that we want to say that we are the cause ourselves. But I'm glad that they are reawakening in that spirit of not only Martin Luther King, people like Malcolm X and other things. Let me tell you something. There is in no way, shape, or form the black people will have any liberty in this country and freedom and be empowered if they don't take the steps that they are taking. If they don't. Sometimes civil disobedience call for these kind of actions. They do. I pray that they don't take the life of anybody, but they must send a resounding message to the president and the government. But it is so unfortunate also that they joke during Barack Obama time. They should have, I pray and hope and wish they have sent this message during Barack Obama term. Because you know what it would have done? It would have reawakened Barack Obama himself. But they send it during Trump time, who does not even understand. The man does not understand. He doesn't. Let me tell you something, Mr. Garley. There are some things you don't teach people. There's some things you reach a certain age. If you did not learn certain things, that's it. You will never learn it. That's it. Trump is not a leader. John Weir is not a leader. They can never learn how to be leaders. Even if you talk to them. As a matter of fact, the man has a short attention span. You can take Trump right now and point him into a meeting and send him there for 2 hours for him to critically analyze what you are saying, to be able to interpret what you're saying. He can't do it. So to tell you his mental capacity is not, he doesn't understand. Same thing with George Weir. They like to be distracted. They like things that will make them to be on top, or things that will make them appear tough. But in nature, they are not tough. So these are some of the things we're seeing.
What was going through your mind when almost 20,000 people were watching George Floyd being killed by this police officer? George was there begging for his life. George was there asking him, telling him, I can't breathe. I'm going to die. A grown man is calling for help from his mother. And this police guy is there after this guy appeared to be harmless on the ground in handcuffs. And he gets killed. Steve, do you agree with the governor of New York that enough is enough? How can we turn this around?
Let me say this to you. There is something in what I do call empathy. That means I feel the same thing you feel. It's not sympathy, but it's more than sympathy to some extent. I can relate exactly to what you're saying. I've never lost a child, so I can't relate to what George's mother or his family might be feeling. I want to be honest. But I know parents who've lost children. I've talked to people who've lost child. One thing I can say to you is, when a man who is grown, who knows himself, revert all his authority to his mom, it speaks volume. Because by nature, mothers are protectors, not fathers. Mothers are protectors by nature. And this is why mothers must not be vulnerable. They must not be vulnerable. They must not be broken or hurt, they will not have that power to protect. Mothers are protected by nature. You see it in all animals. The moms are the most aggressive when they have children. They become aggressive, very protective. So what am I saying? I'm saying if this grown man will lie down there and call, why he never call him pa me? Why he didn't say he pa? Because he understands that the only person that could have spoken for him at that point would have been his mother. And this is why women are very important in our society. And this is why some of us, when you see us come up, and let me tell you something, Mr. Garley, I don't come up to say Liberian women are the most beautiful women because I won't get attention from women. That's not the aim. The aim is, if you see me sitting here today, God first. People don't know me. They don't know my story. A few people I talk to behind closed doors. God first, that women took care of me. 3 women in my life, my mom, my grandma, and my auntie. So I regard them. And because of them, I support the cause of women. So this man lying there and calling on his mom tells you he had no other option. That if his mom did not come there to save him, that was the end. So from that standpoint, if I were that police guy, or if I were around, I would have told him to let loose. For a man to call on a woman in his defense is to tell you that man is powerless. He has no hopes. He has no hopes. I was talking to somebody a few days on the phone. Let me tell you what I told him. I said, men are most vulnerable when they're in front of women and when they're in private. But if a man will come out in public and call on a woman and expose his vulnerability, that means he is at the least in the most vulnerable time of his life. There is nothing else left in him. So, it is very, very heartbreaking. It is very, very heartbreaking. I'm telling the truth. And let me say this, though. Let me say this. Women have a certain control and a power that they don't understand. They don't understand. This is why it hurts me, Mr. Garley, when I see women undermining women, when I see women undermining their interests, and when I also see women being used against another woman. Anything you want to do in life, get women inside, you will do it. I thought most of the time when pastors call me for consultation, you know what I tell them? I say, in order to get your church built, bring women in your church. Anywhere you get women, automatically you attract men. Anywhere. It's a natural attraction. But not only that, here's the bigger thing for those who are Christian. Go check the history of Jesus. At the last end of Jesus' ministry, you know who were in the forefront? They were the women. Go read the Bible. Who announced that Jesus was raising? Go read the Bible. That women did it. So women must understand that men will always revert to them for protection, not another man. Because this man saw another man taking his life away. So he called on his mom. So these are interesting conversations that we must start to have with our daughters, with the men, for us to understand the importance of women in our society and in our culture. Even when women try to devalue themselves, we must not devalue them. We must empower them.
Mr. Bullet, there are some decent police officers, and equally so, there are some bad ones. Over the last several days, you've seen police officers taken to the social media to mourn their brother, their black brother, both whites and blacks, condemning the killing of George Floyd. You've seen people of all race come out in record-breaking numbers in protest for the death of George Floyd. And they continue to say, you know what? This has got to stop. This should be one of the best countries on the face of the earth. But because of this precedent, America is not regarded in other parts of the world anymore. The man is a divider in chief. They're extremely racist. He doesn't give a damn of black people. Where are we headed?
Well, let me say this to you, Mr. Garley. There has to be a reform. In other words, it has to come from everywhere. The reform cannot just be one way. It cannot just be one way. It has to come from everywhere. It has to come from the police. It has to come from the justice system. It has to be more than just police people kneeling down, everybody clapping for them. It has to be more than that. Something has to change. It has to be more than wearing the body camera. Something has to change. It has to be more than, because people have been wearing the body camera. Now, what needs to change? The very first thing that needs to change is the president needs to change. The president doesn't understand what he's doing. He doesn't. He thinks this is a scare tactics, popularity stunt, or he thinks this is a joke. He thinks this is a reality show where you can go and do certain things behind the clothes, or you kind of public out a certain way. That's not how it works. But that's how your brain is wired on. That's how he thinks and he functions. He doesn't understand. So the first step is the president must change. The president needs to be changed. The second step is this, though. Let me tell you one of the major things. The second step is I will advocate for women to be, for a woman to be the justice minister in this country. I will. Let me tell you why.
Wow.
You see, there are certain intuition. In other words, there are certain inside feelings. They call it in America gut feelings that women have. And when women are in authority and in power, and women are willing to do the right thing, I'm not talking about women who will just joke around, or they did something funny that they got to hide themselves and protect themselves like other people. But I'm talking about serious-minded women like Loretta, Condoleezza Rice. These are women who are focused. Loretta Lynch, Condoleezza Rice. These are women who are focused. They don't have time to play games. But not only that, they have a motherly nature in them that when they see wrong and they see disservices and other things, they are able to take swift actions. So what am I saying? I am saying it has to be disproportionately. In other words, it has to be equal. That means they have to bring black woman here, they bring white woman here. But most importantly, let me tell you something. Your own must be able to protect your interests. I would say black people too should come in power of authority. I would say that. And especially black women. They should come in power of authority. They should be in power. I would say to you today, if I were making recommendation, black people should be in power, should have equal opportunities as well. Financially, socially, economically, in every way, shape, or form. Black people should be in power. And I would say though, the black people that don't want to be in power, that still want to be on food stamp, that want to be misbehaving, then let them earn it. But something needs to change. Something needs to change.
And folks, if you're just joining us, we have with us Mr. Steve Bowling out of Arizona, making his presence known tonight. And Steve, again, we want to say the big thanks for taking up time of your busy schedule. We want to go to Liberia now and cover something else. But just before we do that, perhaps we can open up the telephone lines and have folks call in and weigh in the conversation as well. So, folks, if you're listening, the number to call is 248-979-1718. That's 248-979-1718. And then after we can go to West Africa, Liberia. And as we wait for a few calls, we want to go back to Information Hall with Mrs. Brooks Rabbit is still there. I believe she has a few comments to read. Mrs. Rabbit, if you're there, and please go ahead and do just that.
Garley, thank you, Steve. How are you? We have Jerome Roberts. He says, mothers are protectors, fathers are disciplinarians. Boyu Smith, women are custodian of the eggs that men donate. Adiaha Adonje Sil Umo. So true, Steve Foley. In any organization, if women are not a part, that organization is nothing. Sir Putuwei, that police officer is an agent of someone that I know because I see the volume and I see it all in families, in all families. Wookie Jones, yes, Steve Foley, thanks, my wonderful brother. Kula S. Johnson, even a white lady that said her husband had been in the force for 20 years was so downhearted. She said the guy deserved nothing else but the death penalty. Our Mesca is watching. Sarah Puchuwei writes, because I hear the volume and see it all, my lovely family. Tanya Seville writes, I agree with the governor in New York. Kafu Yaga, the white community should start with them. In 1921, white community killed a lot of rich black communities. The Black Wall Street, no single white community was arrested. Princess Chosen, Obama is a disappointment.
Mm.
Lucini Kamara replying to Princess, how? Kafuyaga, I see some states call black people as muddy skin. Rebecca Corva, we need to come to power. Rookie Jones, we love Steve. Keep up the good job you are doing, my dear.
Two more comments, please.
Mandropoulos' son, something has to wake this nation up. And that's it for the comments.
Okay.
Back to
Want to
you.
go back to Steve. Steve, let us talk about abuse against women and children, and let us also talk about the increase of the rise of homosexual and lesbians in our country, Liberia. Last week, Tuesday night, I got a call that this 9-year-old boy was, in fact, sodomized or raped on the compounds of CDC by one Junior Cole. But then I didn't come on Wednesday and Thursday of last week. And this morning, our brother Henry Costa picked up the story that this was not the first time where this little child was being raped. I mean, it was done on several occasions, and they do or even threatened to kill the young man if he was going to tell anybody. This is South our country. I'm also told that they offered his mother $5,000 and she refused. Uh, Medical records are there. This boy was tampered with. 9-year-old Steve. I have a 14-year-old son that I love so dearly. And damn, but these wicked people, I would die because I just can't stomach that kind of stuff. Mr. Bowley.
The reason I reacted the way I reacted just now is there are two components to people who sodomize, rape children, or other things. There are two components, and I want to clarify some of the components. A lot of people will relate to what I'm about to say. Yesterday, I listened to Jerome Vordia very shortly from the TRC, and Jerome Vordia said that during one of the confessions in Liberia, General Botnicki said at some point in time they wanted to do some kind of sacrifice, so they had to turn to one lady, and the lady gave her 9-year-old daughter in sacrifice. So the first point I wanted to make is there is a spiritual component to what these guys do. It is not a normal thing. Let me say it again. It is not a normal or a regular thing for a grown man to decide to want to sleep with a little boy or a little girl unless there is a spiritual implication or unless that person is mentally not stable. Those are the two major reasons. No man in a sound mind or no woman in a sound mind will want to do that to children. But let me come to the spiritual part. I'm not going to disclose the name. There was an older man who served in the Liberian government before. You know what he told me? He said, my son, when we want to go renew our power, when we are older and we want to go renew our power and we want to do certain things so that we can come back on top, what we do is we get these innocent people, if they are not virgins, whether they are men or women, if they have to be virgins are part of the requirement so that we can be the first people to share the blood. And this is real. And some of our parents who are listening today and who are listening to this, they know exactly what is going on. They know this has not been happening in our times. And so I would say to you, Mr. Garley, that this alone, let me tell you something. from every standpoint, whether you are a sedition, whether you are, I don't care what party you support, who you are. This is despicable. This should never happen. This is inhumane. Do you know what you do when you've done that to a little boy or to a little girl? Do you know what you've done? Not only that, not only that, not only that. Here's the most interesting part about it. Most likely, this is not the guy's first time doing it. Not only to that little boy, there are other stories we might not have heard about. So the question becomes, I was reading what his name, Moluba Molu or whoever he is. I was reading one of his posts, and they were trying to distance themselves and say they're investigating. Let me say this to you. Let me say this to you, Mr. Garley and the Liberian people. Let me say this. There are some things you do, even when the people refuse to speak or refuse to come out, God himself will step in. And I'll be very honest. God himself will step in. And it doesn't matter. He will not step in to ask for permission. And this is why I've kept saying to our president and to the leaders in Liberia, they must get serious. But one of the reasons too they're not serious, it is part of their cult, their ritualistic practices in Liberia, and it is part of the system that they have in order to stay in power and do all kind of funny things. Do you know that I was approached by somebody to, and let me be very frank, I'll be very clear, because you know what? For me, I'm an open book. Do you know I was approached by somebody, and you know what they told me? To go and join I don't know whatever society they got, they can be wearing all kind of funny BB ring, and they just look funny around here. I should go join it. You know what I told that person? I say, you better go drink cold water and sit down somewhere. I don't believe in those things. Oh my man, nothing can happen. But here is the biggest thing though. What I was told, I don't know how true is it, and I will be the first to say on your station here. I was told that most of these men, when they go to join that society, and I want somebody who in that society to come and rebut me, when they go to join that thing, actually those guys can sleep with them while they're going there.
What?
I'm telling you, I was told by somebody who is in the cycle. He told me and said, my man, this is why when they come from there, are there any woman who is married to any one of these guys? I've just told you before what they go do there. Let me tell you something, Mr. Garley. These guys are and look, this thing should not be secret, because we must empower our people. These guys allow these men to sleep with them. Let me come to the issue of homosexuality.
Oh, but before you do that, Steve, why wouldn't you call this guy name? We need to name and shame these people, man. You know, you don't want to call this person name. Come on, how would they stop the nonsense? You know, we have to name and shame them. That's the only way the thing can stop, my brother.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. You're 100% right about the naming. But I want to challenge anybody who is part of that society. Let them come up and disprove what I've just said, whether they're on your show or so forth. Those who are in it. You see, sometimes you got to provoke these provoking thoughts so that people who are in it can come and dispute it. If they come and dispute it, then we'll call on here and I'll call on names. Because you know what happened? This is the way to empower our people. We must expose information. Let me say this to you, Mr. Garley. These guys know what is going on. They know. And some of these guys in the government, that's what they do. They do that to these little girls and these little children. They do that. That is why they are refusing to take actions. Because when push comes to shove, guess what will happen? The names will come out, they will be implicated. And one of the group, let me say this, Sonny. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. One of the group that I think is a disgrace is Christianity in Liberia and Christianity in America. They are disgrace. I say they are disgrace. All the Christian people in Liberia, the 99% of the Christians in Liberia are a disgrace. If I was there, I will close down the churches. There is no need for them to have church. There is no need for them to have church. I'm saying it. I'm a Christian. There is no need for them to have church. They are a disgrace, because these are the things that the church must be speaking against. But guess what happened? Some of these pastors are homosexuals, and they are molesting these little boys. I'm telling the truth for power.
And speaking of homosexuality, Steve, listen, I don't condone same sex, you know, and the thing is, if you want to do same sex, why don't you do it with your equal? What a 9-year-old child? What a 7-year-old child? What a 14 or 15-year-old child? I mean, what kind of conversation can you have with that child? Is it because of juju purposes?
Yes.
You want government job? You want to be up there in power? Steve.
Yes, that is that's one of the major purposes. That is one of the key functions. I've told you that two things got to happen for you to behave that way. Either you are not mentally stable, or, and we call those people who are not mentally stable, it is in the book of the DSM, which is the diagnosis book that we use to psychologically diagnose people who are not okay in the head. Pedophilia is there. Pedophilia is there. People who sleep with small children, they call them pedophilia. It's there. These molesters, they are there. You know why they are there? Because they are not okay in the head. But in Liberia, they use it for ritualistic purposes. These guys, I'm telling the truth, Mr. Garley, they do that for ritual. Imagine some of the things these guys can do. These guys would do that, and they would take that blood and take it to the medicine man. Look, you have never, and let me say this, I see most of our people watching these things, they are there. Some of our parents, they know about these things. They have never spoken about it. They keep it as a taboo and as a secret because they themselves, they are victims of it. The victims of it. And that's why you see, let me tell you something, Mr. Garley. You think other people in the country better than Liberian people? I have met smart Liberian men and women, smart Liberian boys and girls. Do you know some of the reasons we can excel? Do you know some of the reasons Liberian people can do anything good and finish? You know why? Because there is curse behind us. I'm telling the truth. This is the truth. All these people do, they do ritual. Can you imagine a man deciding in his sound mind to go and sleep with a 9-year-old little boy? And you get people from the government, other places, trying to shield it and defend it. A few weeks ago, we were talking about Maria. I don't know what her last name is. That Maria lady who's selling kids.
Maria Morgan and Lucan.
It's a problem, Mr. Garley. It's a problem. The country will not go anywhere when you have these kind of things. Let me tell you the truth. The country will not go anywhere when you have these kind of things. This is no joke. It's no joke. It is serious, Mr. Garley. And you know what? You leave these children with no option for some of them to turn out today or tomorrow to be a burden, to be a curse on society. And some of them, there's nothing else they know. There is nothing else they know. I was in Liberia 2018. I met friends who are homosexuals because of drug. These men sleep with them. And look, Mr. Garley, let's get into the homosexual piece of this thing so that I can dive into this thing, because I'm very passionate about some of these things, because you know what happened? I will say this today on this show here.
Hold on, Steve. I'll take this caller. I just 347 number 876-2311. Tell us your name and what do you call us from tonight?
Mr. Garley.
How you doing? Tell us your name, please.
This is Miss Sawyer.
Okay, Miss Sawyer, welcome to the show.
Calling from New York.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Garley, the story just long, so
I know, man. And Steve, we have a president who claims to have the country at heart. And you hear this very disturbing information that a 9-year-old boy was sodomized at the premises of the headquarters of CDC. Well, I'm told that the young man was apprehended. He's in court now, but should this happen, man? 9-year-old? Homosexuality? All the fine women around, you don't see them, that man you see? Even at that, somebody that can be your grandchild. You go and tamper with that person. In some instances, you damage the person for life.
Hello, Mr. Garley.
Yes, go ahead, man.
Yeah, this is me. Sorry, Mr. Garley. The discussion there in studio tonight. This solemn spirit that we're talking about here is just never started this George Weah time. I can remember back on Burupuran refugees camp. Man. I say Mr. Garley, rusty papi.
Mr. You talking about Pache?
That's not Pache. That's not Pache. You can if you were on the camp, they wasted icy water on their guy face before. He used to sew on Burupuran refugee camp very well, man. People used to send the money for America here and send out the refugee camp for him to sew clothes for them. That money they were sending, he was just using people children. using people's children, sleeping with them from the repton until this little boy 9 years. No, he was 8 years old. Attending Little Rock. My son was in Little Rock too. At that time, my son was 6 years old. Mr. Garley, that man slept with the people's son. He threw the money down on the floor and told the boy to bend down and pick out the money. So he told the boy, pick the money out. The boy wanted to pick the money out. That man took that shit. Tell about the money snake in front of him and penetrate that little child. Mr. Garley, that boy put all on himself. Yelling in the house. How they went for him. They brought him to the police station. Yeah. It wasn't easy. Everybody. Even that I cry. I pack my load. I said, I'm leaving the camp here. The place is so demonic. Because if I think on my baby, they boy and my son in the same school. And the child talking about your mom was in America. Here, and she left her son with her friend on Boulevard refugee camp. Can you imagine? Somebody gave her, I won't say on international, everybody watching, people listen. But she came to America, father behind her, with the intention of coming to America to save for her son. Coming here to suffer and take her child from that place. Yeah. And that man damaged that little boy. Yeah. Nothing came from all of that thing. Nothing. The only thing, the people wasted acid water one day. They call him. He was in his house. When he came running outside, they call him Pucci. His name is Pucci. He's so humble to the refugee camp. See, brother, most I think you know Pucci. When the children call, the children say they call him Pucci. He came running. They wasted the acid water on his face. Yeah. And they here, that strong society, I'm telling you, this all I'm here. Can you imagine United Nations came into that case? They came to that boy rescue America. I think they brought him here to America. That case. So Solomon basically just started Joshua. Although Joshua, we know, he remember, he finished. I don't want name people in here because I'm talking about this. Ashford, I don't want to try to name some people that Joshua mess around. You said you ask what you know who they are taking on right now. Well, I will not say it because you already called my name, so I can't say it, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. But we just need to pray. Pray. That all that brother can do. God, I'm Joshua. You all have it? It's demonic. If Joshua move on, if Joshua leaves power, it will still continue in Liberia. So the other thing here is not Joshua. Liberian people, y'all wake up. We should wake up. Let's destroy them, child molester them. That juke stick our boy and plug the eye there off. It will what happened right now in America. You see what happened here? Black man, I don't say black man will not die. Black man will die, but it will take time, Ashford.
Thank you.
It's about time that y'all wake up. Y'all everything in America. If America can wake up, y'all wake up. Liberians, y'all wake up. Y'all wake up. Now I gotta say.
Thank you. So, Steve, still on homosexuality. Is it some type of society that, I mean, I don't know for a fact whether George Weah is part of this, but we've heard this long before he became president. We heard this about him. I'm pretty sure you heard about this as well, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Garley. First of all, let me just be very clear on my stance first on the whole homosexual issue. I don't support anything that's homosexual. I don't condone it. I don't welcome it because there is no long-term benefit in it. It doesn't benefit anybody. It's a waste of time. I honestly believe and I honestly think it has a serious spiritual contact as well as mental issue with it as well. But let's come to the issue of homosexuality. A few days ago, I saw a young man on Facebook, and he conveyed to the Liberian people that 99% of the Liberian men are homosexual. But this is my concern I have with him when he said he was born homosexual. Let me say this to you, Mr. Garley. Let me tell you who's pushing the whole homosexual thing. One of the first person that we saw it from, because America has two agendas. America has the foreign agenda, the foreign policy, and they have the national policy that must be pushed. Those agendas, I don't care what you do, they will be pushed. I don't care who the president is, you got to push it. Remember Obama went to Kenya, and he tried to talk the Kenya president into legalizing that thing, and the Kenya president told him, we're not worried about that, that's not it. Okay, but here is who's pushing this thing. The church people and the women. And this is where I come to say today to the Liberian women, in as much that you guys are beautiful, any Liberian woman that decides to undermine the interests of women who you are a disgrace to yourself as a woman, and you are a disgrace to the woman who, let me tell you how they undermine the interest. How in the world a Liberian woman will see a gay man and you celebrating that gay man and encouraging to continue to be gay man? You know what you are telling yourself indirectly? You are telling yourself that you're putting yourself in competition with that man to be with another man. Because gay men seek interest to be with another man. They don't seek interest to be with a woman. So why do you guys undermine your interest? These are some of the conversations they don't want us to have. They will sit down and tell you that, and they will, it's okay. You're doing very well. You're doing very well. Just continue to do what you do. No, that person is not doing very well. Because evidently, that thing will spread out, it will come back and affect your children. Some of you are saying you want grandchildren. How do you think you have grandchildren? How do you think you can get grandchildren? They can fall down from the sky? Pregnancy is not airborne disease, Mr. Garley. Pregnancy is not airborne disease. Man and woman got to mate for them to get pregnant. So if you don't have man and woman mating, all the other thing that you are doing is a waste. Stop wasting our time. Let's get serious. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say these people want to normalize homosexuality in our country. Because you know what? They are hiding it undercover. But it has proliferated our system in the society. You have grown men are sleeping with men. They are leaving women to go and sleep with men. And I see women jumping around and celebrating that. Any woman that celebrates that, you are a disgrace. I say it. And unapologetically, I will say it again. You are a disgrace to a woman who?
Now, Steve, what do you also make of all those that they call on the down low? You know, bend your backside to your friend men to deal with you, but you pretend as if you love women. And quite recently, we heard this young man who said, I don't know whether he misspoke. He said, 99% of the Liberian men are on the down low. I know I got to be part of that 1% because I know myself, my brother. That is not my terrain. I don't venture around that terrain. What do you make of the men who pretend to be men when in reality they are bisexuals?
Mr. Garley, I 100% agree with you again. Me and you, we are on the same team. I love women because of two reasons. The first reason, that woman born me. The second reason is there is no other human being on earth better than woman. You bring another man, you are wasting your time. So I'm with you. There is no way, shape, or form. Anything from me personally. Let me identify let me get my stand for it. Can be gay. But those guys that call themselves bisexual, let me tell you what they are. They're not bisexual. They're confused sexually. And they want to impose it on other people. And you cannot, let me say this. You cannot infuse what your reality is to be the reality of everybody. It doesn't make any sense. So let me say this, Mr. Garley. What is natural is natural. What is not natural cannot be a norm. Let's say, for example, Mr. Garley, if you decide, Mr. Garley, that you want to drive on the other side of the road, well, everybody been driving on this side of the road. You say you want to drive on the other side of the road. We are not going to change what is natural because you have decided to do that. So I ask this question though. If somebody say they were born homosexual or homosexuality is a good thing, then why do you get vexed with people who decide to touch young children? What if they tell you say they were born like that too? Why do you get vexed with somebody who is a serial killer? What if they tell you say they were born a serial killer? So you see what you are doing. And this is where I say it's a problem, Mr. Garley, and we need to look, Mr. Garley, in no time should we go behind the horse and go discuss this thing. We must bring it in the public eyes and decide to speak against it openly. It is not part of our cultural practices, our traditional belief, our ethnicity. It is not part of it. Why do people want to make this thing normal? And I will say this though. I will say this. Mr. Garley, there are a lot of people. I don't want to use the word 99%. There are a lot of people, a lot of men that are involved with this thing. There are a lot of Liberian men that are involved with this thing. And what they are doing, they are seeking public sympathy. They are seeking people's sympathy to make this thing know that are normal. Let me say this. Some people don't like to talk about it, but me, I can talk about it. I don't care. Anywhere I go, I state my position on certain things. The same way a man will look at you and tell you say he's a homosexual, I have that same right to tell you say I don't welcome that. I don't support it. I will never support it. I don't care who it is. Never. It's wrong. In my honest view, there is no benefit to it. Let's not waste our time. Let's do what we know as Liberian people. Let's not even welcome this conversation in our society. It is wrong. You know?
We want to go back to the telephone line. Hello.
Don't come on. Okay. Mr. Garley.
Yes.
Do you want me to call some names to you?
Oh, please do. Please call some name. Educate us
Okay.
tonight.
Do you know why Thomas Kojo football career died so soon?
No.
Because he was George Weah weapon in Italy.
Hmm.
You heard about Yonisio?
Yes.
George Weah boyfriend.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they alone.
Wow.
Alone, Mr. Garley.
Wow. Thank you, my sister. She's dropping bombs for now. Steve.
Yes, Mr. Garley. I don't shy away from the issue. That's one thing you never find me doing. I don't shy away from the issue. This is why I'm an informed at liberty man to speak the truth.
We want to go back to the telephone line 267-776-5983. Tell us your name and where you call from.
Loli, how you doing? This is Bud. This is your in-law from Cedar Rapids.
My in-law?
I'll call you. I always call you Loli. Loli. You see why I'm calling you Loli for?
You let man or you let woman?
Excuse me, brother Garley, I beg you.
Yeah, go ahead.
The way sometimes people get hurt. So that when people coming from your butt, it comes sometimes with little blood. The way it can hurt.
Hey, my man, the description too graphic, man. Polish it smart,
No,
baby.
hold on. If I can look, let me tell you, brother Garley, after the administration, we should evaluate our leaders.
Yes.
We should ask them tough questions, whether in public. And this time come around, I want Garley, the giant, to be in Liberia and pose this question to our various leaders who want to lead us. If they take the presidency and somebody, a man, be sleeping with a man, what will he do as a leader of our country? Mr. Garley, it's very, very bad. Look, when I heard our news 3 days ago, if I were in Liberia, if somebody do that to my child, but they know if somebody do to my child, I will take stick. Where fire comes from, fire goes there. I will take stick. Whether it hurt, I will do it to you. Whether it hurt. This is very, very bad. You know, I remember when Obama visited Ghana. When it wasn't Ghana, it was in Kenya. When he visited Kenya, the Kenya president said, Mr. President, you from here? You are father from here, but we don't welcome why you say. A bit is the only gift that you will give to we, the people from Kenya. Take it and carry it. You don't welcome it. I heard Steve saying it. It was right. It was at which time Obama could have stand and pass a tougher law into this country to be on his legacy. This is not good at all. And in Philadelphia, somebody in Philadelphia though, that women can go to ply their hair. And when they come from there, oh, he too good, he too this, he too that. If somebody did it to you when you were small, you're supposed to introduce it to another person. Another person, like in our country. They saw the president, other people kissing, and it took them from power because the person spotted both of them doing it. And I remember Yasidi saying one time, I don't know why she can't bring that woman on her show for her to explain why she left Liberia. A year to come. But this is wrong in our country. Our leader, they say president. Our leader, they say ministers or either representative or senator. The way borehole can hurt.
Hey, my man.
The way it can hurt. Women were made for that. God made women differently. Women were made for that. But for men, I got my nut bed. I got my nut.
Man, thank you, man.
The way you don't even take back one day, you put your hand in your bum.
But man, thank you, man. Thank you so much for your contribution. Wow. 713-261-3953. Tell us your name.
The giant Garley. This is Madison Kimmel, aka Matt Kimmel.
Hey,
Houston,
Matt, what's happening, my brother? How's Houston this afternoon or tonight?
Well, Houston is okay. I mean, with this whole thing that's going on, I would say it's calm and
this is a very touchy. This is a very touchy subject tonight, my brother. What's going on in our community? Go ahead and make your point.
Well, I 100% support all the points Steve laid out, especially the analogy he gave. If somebody having the mindset of sleeping with men is good, so you should also create a room or a space where somebody would say touching small children is good too, you know. But for my own standing, Liberia is already a confused society where up to now we still find it difficult to put our priority together. And then we seeing people talking about gay right, or this and that. They know the long-term implication on our society. They know what will happen to the country when you start seeing like 100% of men doing it and nobody talking and everybody supporting it. You know what happened to Liberia? There will be serious problem. We'll have a lot of people coming from outside Liberia with that particular mindset, and they will destroy our whole entire society. They will destroy everything that we ever worked for, our forefathers worked for in our country. And for me, I will not support it. Like Steve, I discuss the issue openly. Anytime on Facebook, whatever, on either national platform, I go there and bombard them. I tell them that nonsense can come to where I'm from. And as long as I'm living here in America, when that debate start to come out in Liberia, we will champion it, we will discuss it. I will do everything in my being as a man to push against it. And like Steve said, all the Liberian women who are advocating in America, oh yeah, that's the right, that's the right.
Thank you, brother.
Let me just end this. I want to get one question to them.
Okay.
They are buried. They should equally tell them, if you want to sleep with men, sleep with men. But don't go to other Liberian people, children who are men that you want to sleep with. Because if you try it, whatever happens to you, I'm not part of it. They should draw that line. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. I want to go to LRB Messenger. Hello.
Hey, the giant Garley, good evening and good evening to your guest, Moses. Look, you know, this thing here has been in the country for a long time, except it accelerated to the very, very high speed. The former minister, that minister, Carlton Carpet, Emmanuel Shaw, those people they never exonerated their life. You know,
brother,
Timothy Thomas or the Zion Grove Baptist, those people, because they had the authority those days, people could not call their name. But those
no,
people
but Alfonso,
right.
We had the names of Emmanuel Shaw and Carlton Carpet, even the Rabble Cell. We had the name, but I mean, you're a journalist, man. I mean, you know for a fact. Can you just say Allah, my brother? I know we had a name though. Growing up, we had those names that these people were involved in all the bad things. You know, we just thought that only the Congo people, but now the Congo people, all than inside now.
Yeah, because what they have done, they are initiated the country people, and that's what Moses was doing. All of these things, they are for different rewards. They do those things in exchange for something, either to get job, or they do it's just another side of it's another witch. But I think, like the other caller said, we should wait for this government to go. Why we should wait? It is time for us to start discussing these issues. And people that are being accused, what are you seeking state power? You need to come clean. Because this thing it is damaging the country. The country is already damaged with people that you know what the girl is saying. These are things that are being in the Liberian quarters. And it's exactly what Moses was saying. The church is a reservoir. The Zion Grove, Timothy Thomas with his mouth. Took him from Liberia. We went to Freetown. He almost got in. He got in trouble in Freetown.
Wow.
You know? So this is something. It's just terrible. It's terrible, and I think it is time for the real discussion because these are some of the ills in society that get the
Hold on,
country to be what
Alfonso.
it is.
Hold on, Alfonso. Tavina, please mute your receiver. I mean, you disturb me. Tavina, please mute your receiver. Go ahead, Mr. So.
Yeah, hang on, let me put it off. Is it better?
Yeah, it's better now. Go ahead, Alfonso.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I mean, this thing is being around there, and it is time now. Now society has opened up. Those days when you talk it, perhaps you would be haunted, but we are in a very evolving society, and these people we need to discuss with people, and they need to come clean if their name is mentioned because these are the ills that we have in society. And when these things happen, it becomes liability on society.
But Alfonso, though,
Alfonso, so I mean, we have
Alfonso, now, do they do this because of poverty, or the jail left for men to sleep with them? Is that what do they do this? Why?
I wish I have an idea on this planet Earth yet the reason of that. But all I can say is just another sign of being as a devilish act. I don't know where. Sometimes even when I came in this country, when I started seeing this thing here, you won't believe it. To share this before I take off here, I almost got in trouble with my first job that I got. I saw it when I asked my supervisor. I said, "What is this?" She's like, "You don't happen in your country." I said, "My goodness, the grown-up men be a decent-looking man and woman. What is that?" Now these people have initiated these people, and it is rampant. It's at a high peak in your country, Liberia. It was there, you know that. They've been there. The Black People Club those days, right there. That was the club of those people. But now modern society has kicked in, so it's like there's no getting. And you see how people are behaving now. But it's good we're talking it, and we gotta call these people name, whether they like it or not. We gotta call their name, and then they can come and exonerate themselves. So Moses, I don't think you should be afraid. When those people who should not have their identity. Having their identity, we are about dangerous people within our society.
Thank you, so.
Thank you so much.
And we have Tavina called on. But just before we go to Tavina, Steve, I was at this clinic the other day, and this guy came, and believe me, Steve, the guy was crying. So I'm thinking that maybe he lost his father and mother. And he started crying, telling me, my boyfriend just broke up with me. And the only thing I get now that my dog. I said, what? Grown man. He said, boyfriend broke up with him. I said, what I drop? So that means you see the content that what I gotta do with it? Damn it. Tavina, go ahead, my sister. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Asha. How are you today?
Good.
Well, I just want to add my voice to the many voices out there that what's going on in the country. With this whole rape and sodomization and everything else. I mean, this has been going on, I mean, when you and I was growing up, or probably before then, but it's out of hand. And so, I mean, I'm just encouraging everybody. I know everybody been talking their own ways, but for us to continue to have this conversation and treat this as an epidemic, treat this as a national crisis, just how we see measles or, or cholera or whatever it is. This is worse than that. I mean, the numbers are alarming. I mean, the cases, we all see them every day. Think about a 9-year-old kid, the situation with that kid. I'm looking at general reports, past reports, and this thing, I have almost 6 years of reports. And this whole sodomization thing, it's all over the report. So why were they not talking about it, creating awareness, encouraging people to speak up? This thing we having ever since is all over the report. So we just need to encourage, our people to keep speaking up. I applaud the kids for coming forward. Even that girl, I mean, the girl over the weekend that the prophet man did that stuff to. She complained that even to the day that her stomach is hurting. All the aftermath of all of these things. So we have to continue to strengthen our voices and really amplify our voices in talking about these things, because until the government can make that move, we shouldn't. I'm glad you guys constantly do this, or just to encourage everybody to keep talking about it, and for Liberian people listening to me who have the potential to vote, they need to vote leaders who are gender sensitive, leaders who are children friendly, not just vote anybody because they give them $5, $10 a T-shirt.
But Telvina, though, Telvina, what do you then say to?
Yes, sir.
What do you then say to mothers who are very poor and they see their children, especially the boys' children, go through this just for survival? Man, I mean, there's no amount of poverty to make you do that, man. I'm from the dirt, a very poor guy growing up. You know, that wouldn't. I mean, we went into to go to school and learn, but I mean, to go to the extent where you got to turn your behind, man, just to survive or just somebody do something. Come on, man. It was just not part of us, you know. Why are we going through nowadays?
Yeah, you know, the parents got a role to play because actually, just like you, I came from a very poor background. Poor little girl from Ghana. That's where I was born. I'm proud to say that. But you know why? My mother taught me to be contented. She put those values in me. So even my rich friends, they had things. My eye wasn't stretching for that. My mom wasn't sitting in the street. I was talking to a lawyer the other day, and she was telling me some of the challenges they have in Liberia with these cases. They got these cases. They want to take it to court. And you have the perpetrator negotiating with these parents and say, I will send your child to college, sure, I will buy them land. And one of the survivors, she told the perpetrator she wanted an iPhone and $2,000. And that was the end of that case. Can you imagine? And not even thinking about the damages that's going to happen to her, you know, in the future and her relationship with other people. I mean, it just go on and on and on. She's not even thinking about all of that. So there's work that needs to be done with these parents. This is not something to be negotiating. There's no barter system where somebody vows with your child in such a gruesome manner. You know, so, you know, it's a lot of work. And the policy, of course, is a key factor there. The lack of resources, people will do what they have to do, but that's where we have to continue this awareness and education so that these people can be empowered. And then the government too have to play their role. They have to give these people the basic resources. This is required of them to give these people the basic resources. If you give them the basic resources, then they won't be struggling in some ways like that. It is just too much. Part of it is the poverty level. I get it.
Thank you.
So, I mean, that's what I can say. It's heartbreaking, but we just have to keep talking. You know,
thank you.
I know you guys do it every day. I applaud you guys. You know,
yeah,
I mean, we just gotta keep talking.
Thank you. This is a serious war we're in, especially when it comes to, you know, that this kind of behavior. You know, I mean, let us go back to Steve. Thank you, Telf. Thank you so much for being a part.
Thank you.
All right, Steve.
Yes, Mr. Garley.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from what I can say to you, for all indications, one of the things I see the Liberian, and I will say this though, Mr. Garley, I will not shy away from it. It has to start from the women. It has to start from the women. Y'all stop, let me talk in the Liberian way. Y'all stop hiding the men and y'all start protecting the men and y'all start supporting these men when they do this thing. Y'all stop. You're not helping your children. Because somebody molested you, it does not, and your parents cover it up. It does not mean you should allow your kid or other people to be molested and don't speak anything about it. And this is where, let me say this to you, Mr. Garley. I am highly disappointed in Pisota and everybody else, female that work at the gender ministry. I'm highly disappointed in them. Highly disappointed in them. They should be ashamed of themselves. And professionally, I would say they should either resign or they should be fired. Because you know what happened? This is what I said. Women always honor man their interest. Have you seen men honor man interest? No way. The only time you see men honor man or another man interest is when that man want a woman and he go and spoil his man in there. And the only time you see it. But in reality,
what do you expect from people city time? They go sit down, we'll open the all smoke opium together, everybody just play together, man playing with man, women playing with women. So I mean, you just wasting water on their backs.
Yes, these are some of the things that when we talk about, people say we are. But I will say this though, apart from Pisota and other people, women in Liberia and Liberian women are the only type of women that I see that honor man their own interest and the women agenda on a daily basis. And you know what, Mr. Garley, it's frustrating. It is heartbreaking. Can you imagine? Let me take a typical example how women can honor man their own interest. Can you imagine another woman sharing another woman make a video or sex video and they go public to discuss it? You know what that tells me? And they think these things are joke. They think these things are getting popularity. They go to tell the other woman. They are undermining women agenda. I see women sitting in group. They are crowding themselves. How they will cost the other woman. They will disgrace the other woman. And they think this is a joking thing. They think that politics. They think they're joking around. No, you are not joking around. You are making fool of yourself. So these men will not respect you. Because you pull out your business out there. You come and disgrace each other. Who do you expect to honor you? But most importantly, our parents. Let me say this, Mr. Garley. Let me say this to our parents. To our woman. To our woman. And not because your parent couldn't afford and you had a godpa. That means your child should get godpa. No. It's wrong. It's wrong. It is wrong. And before I come to these senators and all the other representatives, godpa is not a way of life. Godpa is not a way of life. Do you know it's an abomination for a woman to sleep with a man that can burn her? Liberian people don't even understand some of the implications of these things. They don't. They see it as a normal thing. I went to Liberia. I met one of my friends, one of my good old friends who grew up together, childhood friend, Mr. Garley. These are discussions they don't want to have. They don't want to have this kind of discussion. They don't want for her to come and talking. They want for her to sit down behind her and then they be mumbling in themselves and be talking. You didn't talk about it. That thing you don't talk about it. But they can go and discuss other women. This girl took me. I went to this girl. You know what the girl told me? The girl was very shame when I entered her house. So shame caught the girl. I said, what happened? Why you just acting like that? She said, oh, you born in the country really high. You know, I get one puppy that helping me here. You are a disgrace. You are a disgrace. And I will say to the bigger picture. Let me tell you this, Mr. Garley. These guys know what they are doing. These older men, these grown men, they know what they are doing. Do you know what they do? Do you know what it is for you to tell somebody, say, I will pay a school fee for you to sleep with me? Do you know what that means? That indirect prostitution. They don't want to talk about it. That prostitution. But they don't want to talk about it. And when we say these things, they take it personal. But the truth about it is, Mr. Garley, whether they want to take it personal or not, it doesn't matter to me. We must educate our people and empower our women and our sisters. Because you know what happens? If this thing continues, Mr. Garley, I can tell you, we will have a broken nation long after you and I are gone. Because when women are broken, the country is broken. That's why you get all these women here, they just vex, they just piss off, they just go off on everybody, misbehave, and sometimes I don't blame them though. I want you to tell me today. Let me challenge our sister in the country. I want you to tell me how many Liberian women marry and they keep their marriage. You know why? Because they came from a broken home. They are broken. It's not their fault. They are broken. They are not used to having somebody that loves them. They don't know that. Some of them are not used to having a man that can raise their voice on them. Some of them are not used to having men that can use curse words on them. Can you imagine a woman stand up and tell you, say, if you don't beat me, that means you don't love me? You know what that tells me? You know what that speaks psychologically? You are messed up in the head. It means something is wrong. Somebody messed you up. You understand, Mr. Garley? And these are the things we are faced with.
You in the supermarket, a woman buying code that you said buying code that you're supposed to be mad. Why you gotta be fighting the Bible? What kind of nonsense is that?
And you get our women there, our sister there, our mother there talking, oh, you're doing very well. No, that man is not doing very well. He's a disgraced man who, and you are a disgraced woman who, if you condone that kind of funny behavior. These funny people, we need to speak against this thing. We need to bring it out. We need to bring it out. Let's discuss it in the public domain. It is, look, Mr. Garley, let me tell you something. These guys must not destroy the fabric of our nation. I could care less about the corruption and the stealing, but to go as far as trying to destroy the fabric of our nation, what is wrong? We have a culture. We have a tradition. I know men are supposed to be with another man. I know that. And I say that unapologetically anywhere I go. Even at my job, somebody asked me the other time, oh, you are a professional. Trust me, I'm a professional. But guess what happened? My profession empowers me to be able to speak the truth. I mean,
certain thing, you know, it's just out of the ordinary. You can't condone that, you know. I mean, is that what you want to do? That's it. But you don't bring that nonsense, man. Come on.
Exactly. Let them their own interest.
I know about y'all, but man, I know I love the opposite sex. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, man. You know,
I already know what time it is. I don't play that nonsense. I don't play that. I don't play that. Wow. I don't play that. And any man, let me say this to you. Any man, you my friend. They pay and notice that funny thing around. My brother, bon voyage, go on your way. Me and we not get that conversation. What thing I gotta tell you? What kind of discussion we get? The thing where I like, you don't like it. What do we get to discuss?
Okay,
what Steve, do we have to talk about?
Now, okay, let us go home on the Darius DeLon. I'm told there's a plot to either suspend or expel him from the Senate because, according to some of the senators, he called them useless, spineless, rotten, and they felt disrespected. And now, for this reason, they're trying to go after him. And and one of the things I want to say to this president is that you need to stop the witch hunt, because you can't defeat Darius Dillon in Montserrat does not mean you should pay senators to go after him. Number one. Number two, we smell double jeopardy now. I'm told they are ordering the rearrest of the younger brother of Darius Dillon. It's all witch hunt, man. You can't keep doing that kind of thing to the country, See.
Well, Mr. Garley, let me say this to you. We've seen this playbook before. I've said this before on Mr. Cannon's show, Simple Cannon show. I've said this on other platforms I've been, Sissy and Cindy, and other places I've had the opportunity to speak. I've said this before. The CDC-led government will never change their approach. They will never. And I will say this to you. The president is in a conflict. And the conflict the president has, in psychology, we call it avoidance. Either way the president turns it, it will not end up good for him. I'm saying this today, and I want to keep no record. I'm not saying the president, somebody will hurt him or something. It will not end up good for him. Either his presidency will end up in disgrace and shame because of what he's doing and what he's condemning. And we'll say some of these things, people take it personal. Take it personal all you want, is not a problem. The facts are there. We're in the 21st century. Now, the whole Darius Dillon issue of, let me say this, these guys are testing the water. They got away with just Cabinet Janet. You know why they got away with it? Because we overlooked this government. We overlooked these guys. Let me tell you something. This is one of the most meticulous, strategic, criminal group of people I have seen in my times in the 21st century, if I want to place it that way. Let me tell you why. Because these guys know exactly what they want to do, and they will do everything they can to get to what they want to do. And the only way, I will say this, the only way we can counter them, number one, is to expose it. Not only expose it, but we must stand against it. So I'm saying, all that thing they're doing, that just waste of time. Maybe they will arrest Darius Dillon brother and carry him back to prison or to jail. Yes, I will suppose that because they have the authority to do that. But I'm saying to you tonight that they are bluffing. Nothing will happen to Darius Dillon. They will not move, because you know what? The Senate himself, they listen. They are running on the different talk show. They're listening. They are seeing that the Liberian people are resolved. That if they try to remove Darius Dillon, I can say to you, Mr. Garley, it will be a serious problem. This time around, and not any protest orchestrated by any group of people or by anything. It will be a simultaneous protest for all the 15 counties. As a matter of fact, then the president will know, say this thing is getting serious. I double dare them, let them try it. I'm saying that today, I want to be on record. I double dare this government, let them try to move Darius Dillon. Because you know what happened? Enough is enough. They have to stop this nonsense. If this man is doing something bad, if y'all see that this man, who never called the senators then before that they are spineless? Who never called them before that? That adjective Darius Dillon use. They understand English. They know English. The adjective. Darius Dillon never insulted them. If somebody behaves criminally and you say you are a criminal, you have used adjective to describe the behavior they exhibited. That's what we do. So Darius Dillon never insulted them. He just described the behavior that they did. That's all.
How would they react to the election? You heard the managing director of the NPA. He said even if CDC has to put a cat or dog on the ballot just to regain the seat, they would do it. So how possible it is now for Senator Dillon to regain his seat? Are they afraid? Is that what they are trying to go after him?
They're not only afraid, they are perplexed. They're confused. They're disjointed. They don't know what's going on. They're shocked. They're shocked by that. And I will say this though. Any day, anytime they bring anybody, Darius Dillon will beat that person. And they should watch out for the CPP, because as we move forward, we are going to amalgamate forces to ensure that the CDC is defeated at all fronts, because they are proving to be nothing. I see Opa Kwame Weeks here commenting talking about local Opa Kwame Weeks. You think this is a joke? Try and see. Go encourage them. Try and see. You'll try Darius Dillon and see. This time around, everybody, all hands will be on deck. You'll try and see. All hands will be on deck. Listen, Mr. Garley, let me say this. Sometimes people must do this to be able to send a message. This criminal government, if we don't stand up against these guys and stand up for the right thing, these guys, they will destroy that country up to the point that nobody will want to look at that country. And this is serious. So y'all can be protecting your jobs and be making funny statements at your business. But we'll stand for the truth and we'll not give up. Y'all try the other one. Y'all think June 7, y'all think that organized protest, y'all think that organized movement, y'all try and see what will happen. Spontaneously and simultaneously, they will see what will happen. You'll try. Double dare you, Kwame, we double dare the president. I dare the president to show his assets, declare his assets publicly. I dare the president to do that. I will support him the rest of my life. I dare him. Because you know what? They are not doing the right thing. And we can't sit on the fence again. I see people acting diplomatic. I see people saying that and taking side. This time around, it's no longer about side. Even if I disagree with somebody in the opposition, we'll stand up for the truth. All of us will put our voices together, we'll stand up. If it costs all of us to encourage our people to stay in the street, they will stay in the street. First of all, you ain't giving the people nothing. You're keeping the people down there. Your fake state of emergency you bring to create more chaos. Then you want for all to sit down again for you to come and do the same cabinet Janet tricks. My brother, we have seen this thing before. You're trying.
I listened to the chairman of the CDC. He said they are ready and they will embrace the elections, whether in October or December. But
Yes.
now we still don't know who will represent CDC in terms of Montserrat.
But that's why I say they are perplexed. They're confused, Mr. Garley. They're disjointed. They have reached the junction wherein they don't know how to put the pieces together. And I can tell you though, let me predict something on your show here today. And I want Opa Kwame to go and write it down. Let me predict something here. Let me predict something on the show. I've been watching, I've been very quiet and watching this government's behavior. Let me tell you the next thing we do. They have no way out. They are cornered. So the next thing they're coming to do now, they will start turning against each other. Watch and see. They have nothing to offer the Liberian people. Nothing to offer the Liberian people. Nothing. The day George Weah started to do the right thing, I was supporting. They have nothing, Mr. Garley. So what they want to do, they want to prolong things. Okay, we're not get a problem. Coronavirus, we agree. Coronavirus, we extend the election to December. We agree to it. Anytime you extend it, the opposition will whip the CDC. You'll try and see. Anyway, you even bring George Weah again. You bring George Weah. Dylan will whip George Weah. Yep. Don't take it to a Carrot Great Bank. Take it to Real People Bank. Dylan will whip George Weah anytime, any day. Bring him. He's in the Senate race, bring him.
Again, as always, Steve, just before we get your bottom comments, want to go back to Information Highway. Mrs. Brooks Roberts is still standing by to read a few comments, and then we'll come back to you. And then we can call this a night tonight. Mrs. Roberts. Mrs. Roberts.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Garley. We have Hawa O. Robinson. She said, ooh. Even Elsa, ha ha ha. But Brothers Association.com. Samuel Garson Williams. To get a better job in Liberia since Madam Ellen's time to George Weah's time, it's for you to sleep with the ministers or directors. Stephen Elsa, ha ha ha. Ethel Innes, man telling his married wife to turn around. Randolph Gleed is watching. Na Camus says, replying to Amadou, no government, to my knowledge, have never legalized homosexuality in Liberia. Patience Louis, Dawati, you like it now? Nola Dennis is watching. Edwina Lapu Livingston writes, the white man tells you it is okay for two men to sleep together, but you can have two women? Steve Boley replying to Patience, I like women. Amadou Dakpa Glenn replying to Amadou, the Salif brothers are their comrades. Elder James C. Bly Jr. is watching. Grace Corinthian Gua is watching. Kennedy Corey, can you imagine the president boasting and saying he is shining because he has a 24-year-old girl? This is disgraceful and shameful. Kwame Opa Weeks, really? Why are you so angry? Edwina Lapu Livingston, they told us our language was bad. Our way of life is bad. And now they are telling us to destroy the fabric of our culture? Edwina Lapu Livingston replying to Kwame, he's not angry. That's how he talks. Stanley replying to Kwame, go ask Weah. Edwina Lapu Livingston. We will run them out of the country. Kwame Opa Weeks, Loka. Anthony Rogers, you're making big mouth. Wookie Jones, not all women do those things. Watching women videos is bad for we, the humans, being treated. It's bad for we, the human beings, treating one another bad. And then we have Dagba Zulu. He says, all those things your guest speaking have anything to do with the President George Weah, things that standing since 1847. You guys as talk show so-called journalists have no good discussion without President George Weah's name. Kwame Opa Week. That's how you gonna develop Liberia? Kwame again replying to Anthony. Indeed. Ethel Innes. That means they are all dogs. Amadou Dagbu Glenn says, ha ha ha, this speaking Muv Wild. The same was said about Jenna. I think that's Sabina Jana. Then we have Anthony Rogers. Listen to the nonsense you are talking. Dylan using adjectives. Kwame Opa Week. You are an angry young man. Philip Pasqua. Steve Bully. You are all bluff. You sit in America and make big mouth. Dylan will apologize. You make all the big mouth where is root. FM today. Okay, Kwame Opa Weeks. Relax and make your point. Ethel Innes replying to Anthony. You're making big mouth with your short self.
Two more comments, please.
No name calling. And then we have Miss Ethel Innes again replying to Anthony. Kwame Opa Weeks. Your crown brother talking. Close your mouth. Philip Pasqua. You able to fly to another state before flying to Liberia? Such a big mouth. Nas Kamunu says, replying to Anthony, when Speaker Chamber called his fellow legislators as gangster, it was better then. You guys, hypocrisy too much.
Thank you.
Kwame Opa was replying to Anthony. Ethel Innes, thanks.
Thank you.
One more comment and I'll give it back to you. Tom Curry, no plan of action and agenda, just calling your government pro government is a cut. Back to you, Mr.
And again, we want to say congratulations to Ms. Kalanzaye. Dumpa Fire. As she celebrates her birthday today. And this one is about Nayaka Bell from Cote d'Ivoire. West Africa, Abidjan. Iwasado, she calls this one. One of my all-time favorites. Oh, man. Félicitations, congratulations, Kalanzaye. Dumpa Fire. And again, want to say a big thank you to Mr. Steve Bolin, as always, man. Your parting comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Garley. One thing I've come to realize is some people do not understand anger from passion. I want to speak directly to Mr. Opa Weeks, and I'm not angry. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate. And let me say this to everybody else that think this is a joke, but this is a bluff. Let me say this. Some people will get serious sometimes. Other people are serious now. And I'm part of the people that are serious now. And if you guys say maybe this is bluff, this is noise, this is this is that, and we see you can do nothing and see people threatening and you can't come to Liberia, you can't do this, well, then you're trying to move directly along. You're called Abachi and moving, let's see. That's all I have to say, Mr. Garley. That being said, I want to say thank you. Thanks for all you do. And as always, whenever you invite me, once I have the time, I will show up and we'll do what we got to do for the Liberian people. We empower our people and inform them. Thank you so much again. It was a pleasure being here and always an honor.
Mr. Paul, now we'll go back to information how Mrs. Brooks Rabbits is turning back to give us her parting comments. Mrs. Rabbits.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Garley. Thank you, Mr. Steve Bully. And thank you to all of our viewing audience and listening audience. We say thank you for always being a part of Bridge TV. Please do visit our bridgetv.com for more information and for more entertainment as well. As we close during these tumultuous times in our country history, which is America, although we are Liberian, we just want to, admonish our brothers and sisters out there. We feel your pain and we understand what you're going through, and we stand with you despite what our leader has said. He is the leader of the free world, and he should be calming us during these times of storm rather than inciting more violence. Again, I say thank you, Mr. Garley, for the information and always bringing what needs to be talked about current events. Have a good evening.
Okay, want to say a big thank you to all of you for taking off time out of your busy schedule just to join the program tonight. Those from Hong Kong, those from other parts of Europe, Liberia. Oh, bad. And as always, please allow me to borrow the wordings of the wise man. Tough times don't last, tough people do. The height of a man is never known until he rises, and there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone, because you can't hide your nakedness from beef and bucket. When God bless you, don't see that medicine. When women know you friend black man. This has been yours truly, the microphone medicine. Ashford the giant, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than the lion. That's why they call him the Ashford the giant. That now you know me, Garley. Have a good night.